I work with people who have a lot of anxiety, and in my own life, my constant struggle is that I hit all the goalposts and the anxiety doesn't go away. And so then you really have to do the hard work of what else is going on. I mean, I've hit all the marks for passion. I mean, nobody has more passion for their work than me. I love it. I feel blessed. I'm doing exactly what I want to do every single day. Like, what a gift. Who gets to say that?
I know. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah.
It's a gift. It's a blessing. And yet the anxiety is still there. And so my book, The Anxious Achiever, is really about that conundrum, which I see in so many people, especially high achievers, where the passion is there, the metrics are there, but the anxiety doesn't stop. And so they can never sit still and say, wow, I'm so blessed. Wow, I did it. and that's a reality too.
So let me just ask you one question. See if you can think of one example, good example. The whole purpose of this podcast is to try and solicit scenarios where people did the opposite of what any human being would have normally have done, and achieved an incredible result. So is there anything that jumps to mind in your journey where the world would assume you'd have reacted this way, but you chose to do something entirely different that went against the status quo, that took you out of your comfort zone, but had incredible results?
It's hard for me to say I've done something well, being an anxious achiever, but there's one thing I've done well, and I'm going to share it because I think there's probably a lot of working parents who listen to your podcast. And if not, they will share it, hopefully, with working parents, which is that, for women, at least, you're raised with the expectation that you cannot possibly have a really active parenting life and a really successful career. It's an unwritten rule. And certainly, for really, if you go to elite schools, if you're prepared, if you're just gunning your career or whatever you do, right? There is an unwritten rule. You can't have it all. Work-life balance. And I had the very good fortune when my first son was a baby to go to a conference and meet a woman named Callie Yost, Caliyost. I recommend her work for everyone. She's America's leading expert on high performance flexibility, workplace flexibility, but she has coined a term called work-life fit. And she said, look, work-life balance is bullshit. And we all know that. Everyone has their own work-life fit. And you need to know what is yours. What's going to make you happy? If you're a mom and you have a baby and you actually are dying to go to work, that's your work-life fit. You could do it. And I met her and I read her books and I thought, oh my God. And I, from day one, have refused to fall into the trap that you can't be an active parent and have the career you want. And I had to do it on my own. No corporation was going to help me in that. I started my own business. And from day one, everyone I worked with and hired and me, we had total flexibility. We worked virtually. We never were accountable for our time as long as we did the job well. And there were whole weeks when I wouldn't work. But I had such a great team. This is probably similar to what I had such a great team. And when I needed to, I worked like crazy, but I made my own rhythm. And that was the biggest blessing of my life. But it came from this fundamental belief that I am not going to subscribe to this horrible, limiting untruth that we tell women, which is that you cannot have the career you want and be an active mom, because that's a terrible way to live your life. It changes everything, and the most powerful thing you do. And again, I think this is one thing I did well, is I would totally say to my clients and my team, I have this obligation for my kid. I can't, my mother is going, and sometimes by just saying the words, you open up the opportunity to take away the stigma and let other people do it too. But there's so much stigma and anxiety. And I mean, all of us know that horrible, horrible feeling of when the school calls and you're on the meeting and you're texting your husband saying, "Oh my God, we have to go pick the kid up, but I'm on this Zoom." And it's like the anxiety, the stress, the cortisol. And
Yeah, yeah, it's
and
all there.
you're
Yeah,
saying, what if that just wasn't necessary because we're all grown
yeah,
ups and we're gonna get it
yeah.
done?
So just to bring things to life, it's like, I was talking to Gabby today, and her kids are running in saying, "Mummy, mummy, mummy, mummy." And 3, 4 years ago, you'd have gone, no, you can't, no, you're at work, you can't have children. And it was all this nonsense. Whereas now what's happening is, because we've become more intimate with our colleagues, that we care about the children, the dog, or the thing. And we love the kids to come and sit on a lap and say, "Oh, this is Jeff, or this is Gabby, or this is Sam, have a chat." And again, suddenly there's none of this fear about, "Oh, I've got to lock the door, I can't let you in, I'm on an important call." We're saying, no, those days have gone. You are in a call where we are families, right? And that's the way it works. And I think suddenly that again removes another level of anxiety when, you're worried about your kids posting it. Why?
Yeah.
It's real life, right?
I mean, sometimes you are. Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, that's the other thing is that, like, sometimes I can't tell you how many nights I've been stuck on the tarmac at LaGuardia Airport in New York City. I mean, that's life, right? So none of this is perfect. And that's the other thing is that
No,
I
no.
think that we have to also teach people to accept compromise. And
Of course.
compromise is so important in life. And again, when you're high charging and you have such expectations, right? No, life is not about that. Life is about compromise. And the older I get, the more I feel very strongly about helping younger people who've always pushed so hard to just accept that sometimes things suck.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they really do.
They do. Yeah, they do.
And that's okay too, right? You can still have the larger passion.